Lindy MacLaine, Your Buried Story, Your Buried Story, Lindy MacLaine.
It's 6 o'clock in the morning. After a sleepless overnight flight, I'm standing on the arrivals curb in the Orlando, Florida airport. My heart is in my throat, my stomach doing flip-flops. The consequences of having told my buried story are coming at me like a freight train. Contest chair? Fellow Toastmasters? It's your fault. You created the incubator in which I told my buried story and came face to face with my regrets. My friend, there is a story that you never tell anyone because you're afraid they'll find out the truth and think less of you. That is your buried story. At 17 years old, I returned to the US after an indescribable year as an exchange student in Peru. I had my 2 duffel bags, a second language, and a second family back in Peru. Mom, Dad, I'm home. Did you miss me? Lindy, your father and I are separating. If you've been through a family crisis, you know how everything else falls away. No one wanted to hear from me. I swallowed my Peruvian year whole. I shoved my story deep down inside. I left home for college. I buried my story for years because I didn't know any different. A couple of intense years passed. My parents decided to mend their marriage. Now I could focus on my other family. The occasional letter I'd been sending to Peru came back marked return to sender. I had no other address, no telephone number, no way to track them. I had lost touch with my second family. The truth is, I did not try hard enough to find them. Beside my buried story, I planted a seed of regret that over the years would grow into a vicious weed. A few years ago, as a fairly new Toastmaster, in my quest for speech material, I heard a little voice. Tell your story. What? Not that story, no way. Well, but I'm not telling all of it. I don't want them to know I'm guilty of losing touch. I told a few vignettes from my life-changing year in Peru. People actually laughed. Okay, I'll tell my story. Have you used Toastmasters to develop a single story? Have you told it again and again, receiving feedback, revising? Have you surrendered to that process like clay in the hands of a sculptor? I did. And I received treasure beyond measure. My Peruvian family came alive again in my mind. My mother, meet my American daughter. She sings soprano and she dances ballet. My father, Lindy, buenos dias, no, buenos dias. Marilu, 13. Para bailar la bamba, dance, Lindy. Dante, 12. Adorable. He could conquer the world with a twinkle in his eye. Little Talia, she expressed her feelings for me as only a 6-year-old can. Baby Gonzalito, big brown eyes, just learning to walk. The memories poured in and my heart grew. My regrets went wild. What had happened to these people that I loved? Why had I let them go? I felt sad, sorry, ashamed, guilty, feeling all of that. I finally did what I should have done ages ago. I begin to look for them. First stop, that website that you use to find lost people, Facebook. I found my sister Marilu first. Do you know, there is something eternal about voices. I wish I had words to tell you what it was like picking up my phone and hearing her voice as if she were still 13. Marilu? Lindy, it's really you. We talked and we talked. It turns out, in difficult times, the entire family had left Peru, and they were now living in Orlando, Florida, only 6 hours away from me by plane. I'm standing on the arrivals curb at the Orlando, Florida airport, my heart, my stomach. Will we still like each other? Will 4 days be way too long? The consequences of telling my buried story are now pulling up to the curb. Out steps my Peruvian mother. One look and tears. Mamita, hola, ¿cómo estás? Lindy, you have not changed one bit. Really? After 40 years? She still loves me. I spent 4 unforgettable days reconnecting with my family, my parents, Talia, Dante, Marilu, their 6 children, and of course, baby Gonzalito. My friend, you are the hero of this story. Without you, this platform, your encouragement, this life-changing reunion would not have happened for me. The question is, hero, will you heed the call? I told my buried story, and I got a brand new ending. What if, when you tell your buried story, a new ending awaits? Tell your buried story. Tell your story. Contest chair.